Okay, here's the trinomial that probably won't factor. Notice that it has a 3 in front of x squared, the ones you had for homework recently, not for today, had a 1 in front of this. Okay, so what are we going to do about that? Well, probably won't factor, but I don't even know if it factors. I didn't even think about whether it factors. I just wrote down some numbers. It might be low probability, probably 1 chance in 10, that it actually does factor. We'll see. Okay, so 3x squared plus 5x plus 6. What's the form of this thing? If it's factored, it's going to have a 3x here and an x here. That'll give us the 3x squared. There's no other way we're getting 3x squared out of this product. So, now I've got to have factors of 6 here. So it could be plus 6 and plus 1. Now, since this is a plus 6, it could be minus 6 and minus 1, but if you have minus here and here, you're going to get a minus in front of x. So that's not going to be helpful. So we could write down this possibility, or this possibility for the fact that 6 is 6 times 1. They're two going to be way too big, so you pretty much dismiss that. You're only going to get a 1x here. But we write them down anyway until we get a really good feel for these things and learn to spot them. Okay, so we have 3x then plus something, 3x plus something. Okay, we've used 1 and 6 as factors of 6. Now, the only other possibility we have would be 2 and 3. And that's not a 3x, that's just an x. Okay? Now, if we do this, we get 6x and 3x. So I'm going to abbreviate this. I'm not going to write out the product. I'm just going to say we get 9x out of this, in addition to the 3x squared and the 6. Okay. Because we have 3x here and x here, we're going to get 3x squared. Because we have factors of 6 here, we're going to get 6 here. But we've got to get the 5x, and that ain't going to happen with this one. Okay? This is even worse. We get 19x. So we cross that out, we cross that out. What do we get here? Well, we get a 2x and a 9x. So that gives us 11x. That's not going to work. And then here, we get a 3x and a 6x, and again, we get 9x. Well, we need 5x. Nothing gives us that the 5x gives us the 5x that we need. So this one doesn't factor. At least not over integers, and that's all we're interested in right now. Okay, so what if we did this? Just do something in my head and just checking the discriminant to make sure it's going to factor. It seemed pretty obvious. Okay, so if we have this, okay? Got to check what? Well, we could have a 6x and an x. And of course, it's going to be a plus and a plus because this is positive, so these two have to multiply out to positive. So they have to have the same sign, but if they're both negative, that's going to give us a negative here. So we don't worry about negative. Okay, so we can do 6x plus 3 and x plus 1. We could do 6x plus 1 and x plus. We could use 3x and 2x as expressions that give us the 6x squared. And then we could do, well, plus 1 here and plus 3 here. Or we could do 3x plus 3 times x plus 1. And that's all the ways. There are only two ways to break this down, into an x and a 6x, or a 2x and a 3x. And there are only two ways to break 3 down. Well, there's only one way to break 3 down, 3 and 1. Okay? But it'll appear twice. Okay. Well, if we look at what we get for x here, we're going to get a 3x and a 6x. We're going to get 9x. We need 11x. What do we get here? We get a 6x and an x. So we get, we get 18x and an x. So we get 19x. We cross that out. Here we've got 3x times 3, which is 9. 1 times 2x, well, 3x times 3 is 9x. 1 times 2x is 2x. 9x and 2x get, we get 11x. So we think that's going to work. Now in a minute, we'll make sure we have to dismiss this one. That gives us 3x times x, which is 3x, and gives us 3x times 1, which is 3x, and 3 times x, which is 3x, and we get 6x. So that doesn't give us 11x. We check the 3x plus 1 times 2x plus 3. And that should be 2x plus 3. I'm sorry, I didn't write that down right, so that's 9x. Okay, 6x. 3x and 6x, 9x. Okay, so we check this. We get 3x times 2x plus 3 plus 1 times 2x plus 3. That equals 6x squared plus 9x. And then over here we get 2x plus 3. That gives our 6x squared plus 11x plus 3. That's what we started with. That's what we're trying to get. Now eventually, after you've listed all the possibilities for several of these, you can start to see when something just isn't going to work. And like, if you just look at this and just think about this, well, let's say the one. If you just think about this, you see that here you're already going to get 18x, right? And this is going to be a positive multiple of x. That's not 5x. You've got to get something as small as 5x. Here, as soon as you multiply the 6 by x, you've got 6x. And multiplying this out is not going to reduce that. You're not going to get 5x, right? And then you can start looking at it in different ways. I'll do one more. 6x squared plus 7x minus 3. Now, just checking the discriminant, you don't even know what that is at this point. Again, 72 and 48. 72 minus 28. Sorry, 49 and 72. Okay, that works. Okay, so I should say here, check the possibilities. Because I've got check down here twice. And here, check the solution, okay? So we're going to check possibilities. Every possibility we're going to have a 6x and an x. Then we have to have numbers that multiply out to negative 3. So this could be plus 3 and minus 1. Or 6x minus 3 and x plus 1. Or it could be 2x and 3x with a 3 and a negative 1, or with a negative 1 and a 3. Now, is that all the possibilities? Well, let's check and see. Okay, on this one we're going to get 3x and minus 6x. So we get our 6x squared, we get our minus 3, but we don't get our 7x. Okay, what do we get here? Again, we get positive 6x and a negative 3x. That gets plus 3x, so that's not going to work. Here, we're going to get 9x here, and we're going to get a minus 2x. So this looks like it's going to work. Here, just check all possibilities. If we get the same thing, same multiple of x on two different ones, that means that we didn't really do two different ones. But you want to check just to make sure you don't miss something. Okay, so, and again, after you do several, you can kind of shortcut that. You're going to get a minus 3x and a plus 3x, plus 6x, sorry. And that doesn't work. So we cross this one out. Okay? Then we do the 2x plus 3 times the 3x minus 1. That's 2x times 3x minus 1 plus 3 times 3x minus 1, which is 6x squared minus 2x plus 9x minus 3, which is 6x squared plus 7x that I recommend to start with. After you get really comfortable with that scheme, then you can start looking and dismissing some of these possibilities before you even have to write them down. Now, of course, there's a rule. You know, this number times this number plus this number times this number has to add up to 7 and stuff like that. If you don't understand where the rule comes from, you're going to tend to forget the rule. What you're really doing is whatever you do, essentially you're checking out all possibilities. And then if your arithmetic is pretty good, pretty soon you're going to start seeing patterns and you're going to get better at it, okay?